would you mind just playing something so as they...
Right, here we go.
There's
One of these days I'll bring a challah. I brought a roll I was reusing several times, Hans, and then one day it was green. All the plastic didn't help. I just kept lifting it up for the motzi. It's like, I went, okay, never mind. Thank you, John. You keep that one. Yeah. That's wonderful. There were good matches here. Oh, you got it.
We're live. We're good.
We're on? All right. Thank you, Hans. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, John. Thank you to whoever's watching us at home. The days, they kind of blend in, even though they're different. News time, and then we find ourselves at Shabbat. For those of you who are watching, to state the obvious, we're in the chapel. Our chapel is beautiful, and actually it's supposed to rain tonight. And this could be the first time where the weather does not affect service attendance. Yeah. So, but hopefully there are many of you home in your safe place. It must be a big storm. So normally it's very bright this time of year at 7:30, and the sun is coming in through the windows, and you can see the beautiful look of the setting of the sun and the coming of Shabbat. So you're getting that for a night, but this is actually a temporary, every week will be a little different, but this is a temporary decision this week because tomorrow morning, Jonas Evans, a daughter of Sarah Brinkman, will become bar mitzvah in the sanctuary. Unless you think we're not taking all kinds of safety measures seriously, we wanted to leave the sanctuary alone for a day and not use it tonight before tomorrow morning. Everything is set up for his rehearsal. And for those of you who have asked for a chapel service, it allows us to give you that. I want to thank Carl Rosenblum, who is streaming. We'll wave to him. He's in the building, but many feet away, and he's streaming, and he was ill last month. Totally different thing. So we're glad to see Carl strong and back and ready to help us. Right. And glad to see all of you here. I hope this week was not too challenging. I hope you were able to meet those challenges as well as you could, and if it was, it's Shabbat, and it's time to start a new week, first with our day of rest. And so we're just going to begin, as we always do, with a prayer for healing, a reminder that for those of you who wish to follow along, for those of you who wish, there is a link every Monday in our virtual Beth-El e-blast, and it takes you right to our prayer book. And as we pointed out before, there's an 18-page difference. Next week, we're going to have a new link. So check your emails, and we're going to be on the same page, literally and metaphorically. So, but for one more week, I get to say, that we are on page 371 in the prayer book and 389 in the flip book. If you wish to follow along, on this Shabbat, we add prayers for all of the ill, those who may be doctors, first responders, caregivers, nurses, all who are healthcare workers of any type, custodial staff, anyone who is helping to keep our country safe. And we add to those names the names of Annette Dover, Charlotte Fiwis, Stacy Lewis, Jeffrey Mark, Maria Schoen, Graham Baker, Elliot Blumberg, Katrina Joy Rogers, Eddie Sankery, Debbie Friedman, Claire Brunhild, Mike Fox, Ann Westerman, William Westerman, Robert Bogan, Ellen Alcon, Christopher Long, Brandon Levy, Leslie Arnoff, Ellen Mack, Ted Mack, Karen Delavan, Lillian Deutsch, Les Deutsch, Kevin Delavan, and Michael Goldman. Just a friendly reminder that even as we are stuck in, there are many things that you know well. There are many, many Zooms and programs and things around the country to help people feel connected. We know we're going through a little bit of fatigue, so I want to specifically mention that there are several that have a human dimension. I want to remind you, we get a much bigger group tuning in here than we get with some of our other announcements. So just a friendly reminder that many of us gather to light Shabbat candles at 5 o'clock every Friday. And a reminder that many of us gather for Havdalah at 6 o'clock on Saturday. Brooks Alcock continues to offer Shabbat meditation over Zoom. I guess if you really don't want to go to Zoom, you could email me and I'll give you the call-in number, and then I guess you'll listen to his voice over the phone. So that would be another option. But he does just a whole hour of relaxation and breathing and reflecting on the Torah portion. We tried something new. We're going to try it for at least one more week. where at 8:30 on Thursday mornings we are talking about the traditional prayer for hand washing and using that as an entree to think about what we will do to grow in the coming week and how we will increase our sense of gratitude. And there are many other things going on, but those are a few key ones when you can really connect with your friends in a different way. And of course, tomorrow morning, Jonas Evans will read from Bahar, the 25th chapter of the book of Leviticus, at the very beginning, and his words will begin with, Ki ta'avru el ha'aretz, asher ani noten lachem, Veshavta ha'aretz Shabbat l'Adonai. And when the Lord your God spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai and said, when you come to the land that I am going to give to you, to bring to you, you will make Shabbat of the land a Shabbat to God. And we're seeing that again. What is a Shabbat? The guidelines that follows: you will leave the corners of your fields, you will not trim your vineyards, you will make a Shabbat of the land. We are told about the 7 years of 7. Every 7th year there will be a sabbatical for the land. It doesn't mean we won't use the food, it doesn't mean we won't eat from it, but the poor, the hungry, all will be able to take from it. It will just grow up and grow untouched, available for whatever you can find, but to let the land recharge. We find, and Rashi, the Jewish commentator, says it's not the country that rests and gets a Shabbat. It's the actual land, the dirt, the soil. The purpose here is for the land to charge up. Just last week, we read about Mikra Kodesh. We learned about holy convocations, times when we would need to gather on Shabbat on holidays, and we would be renewed. This theme of Shabbat, whatever Shabbat means, a rest, a stopping, whatever it is, a reboot, whatever it is, a reset for the land which needs its nutrients, for the people, the idea of a change, the idea of clarity, of a resetting. So Shabbat then, and here's the pitch that if you haven't made some Shabbat, find a way to make some Shabbat in the next 20. You might say, Rabbi, we're watching the service. That's our Shabbat. That's good, but I want you to go even a step further, whether it's a careful walk, or whether it's a backyard if it's not too hot, or whether it's walking a dog or calling a friend or opening your window, whatever it is, part of that renewal that is in this week's Torah portion that Jonas will teach us about so well tomorrow. I've heard his speech, so I can say that beautifully in our sanctuary when he teaches and he explains. Part of that renewal and resetting isn't just about stopping. It is about seeing things differently, looking at how things have been going and trying a different tack. And so it's with that note on this Shabbat that I wanted to share with you a quick and really beautiful, inspiring story from the news. We spend so much time thinking about what's been challenging and terrible last week. I want to start with a story that embarrassed many of us a few weeks ago. A story of Orthodox communities in Israel, in Brooklyn, Kiryat Yoel, just a little bit upstate in New York, places where the ultra-Orthodox communities were gathering, places where the ultra-Orthodox community said, we must continue to meet regardless. And so in those communities where people said, we're still going to gather for our minions, we're still going to gather for Shiva, we're still going to celebrate Passover, we're going to stay together, we're going to ignore what you're saying. In fact, the funeral of a beloved rabbi from Agudat Yisrael, in which hundreds of people gathered in the streets, that the city had to break up. And others of us were embarrassed because we knew that the value, the sanctity of life, the value of Pikuach Nefesh came first, and we felt this somehow looked unfavorably on the Jewish community. We felt embarrassed that others would see us gathering that way. And we were very concerned. The state had to get involved. And we know that the death rate and rate of disease in those areas was much higher than in the rest of the state because of these mass gatherings. And yet now I'm happy to share with you another story from 2 days ago in the New York Times you may not know about. So we share not only the worst parts, but the best parts, the learnings, the rebootings, the resettings. And part of the New York Times story says the following: they came in waves throughout the day. Large groups in carpools and married couples taking advantage of their newfound health for a road trip through the mountains of eastern Pennsylvania. By the time night had fallen, more than 60 Hasidic Jews from New York had arrived to donate blood plasma, rich in antibodies they had generated when they were sick with COVID-19, the disease caused by the coronavirus. There were so many, one said, Hasidim in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, probably more than in the history of the world. And they were riding here literally to save lives, said Morty Cyril, an Orthodox Jew who made the trip from Brooklyn last month to donate blood. He said, I think I was the only person there without a beard. I'm not sure that'd be true now. The coronavirus hit New York State with devastating force, infecting over 340,000 people, killing more than 26,000, and public health data suggests the ultra-Orthodox and Hasidic community may have been affected at a rate that exceeded other ethnic and religious groups, with community estimates placing the number of dead in the hundreds, including a beloved religious leader. Avram Weinstock of Avodat Yisrael said rabbis instructed their followers to drive to blood banks on the Sabbath if necessary, if that was the only time they could secure an appointment to donate. He said, from a moral and religious perspective, if we find out later it saved 50 or 100 lives or 20, it was worth every effort. Together they have gotten more than 12,000 plasma donors to sign up, and they're expecting as many as 30. They have recruited so many donors that appointments at blood banks across New Jersey and New York have filled up, forcing these donors to travel to Pennsylvania and to Delaware to donate plasma. Pikuach nefesh, the saving of a life. These ultra-Orthodox communities had the chance to pause, to see what they had done, and to realize they had an opportunity to save the lives of others. The reboot, the resting that is the Shabbat of the land and the Shabbat of the soul that causes us to see how we need to change our actions and to be better. Or as Nachmanides says, he suggests there is a secret code in all of the sevens that lead to the 50th year sabbatical. And he suggests that the Jubilee year, the 50th year, is really a model for the ultimate Shabbat of all times. So however Nachmanides translated the Messianic time to come, I translate it as a time when thousands of those who acted in a way that endangered others were given a second chance to bring a Shabbat, a time of peace and health and dreaming, a true Messianic time of understanding to people around the world. And so we light the lights of Shabbat with the lights of hope, the lights of new possibility, the lights of renewal, the lights to turn from what we have done and to be more active participants in the saving of lives. A blessing over Shabbat candles, page 120 and 138 in the flip book.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner
Page 123, we continue with the blessing over wine. And tonight we both have wine.
We have both wine.
That's right, it's Hot Shabbat tonight, even if you didn't know it. We join together and we thank God for the fruit of the vine the rest of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, melech haolam borei puri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, melech haolam, asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kosho be'ahava uvratzon hidlanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit. Ki hu yom techila lamikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tzion Mitzrayim. Kivanu bacharta, v'yotanu kidashta, min kol ha'amim, v'shabbat koshecha, be'ahavat uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai min kadesh ha-Shabbat. Amen. Chaim.
Chaim. So now as we get ready, if you haven't had dinner yet, get out that challah. If you don't have a challah, go find your Triscuit. Or earlier tonight, Juliana used a Ritz on our Shabbat candlelight. If you don't have that, I am sure in your house you have a cupcake. Or if you have a Twinkie, it's still good. Whatever it is, I guess you could pull out a pint of ice cream that's cookie dough flavor. Whatever it is, join us in the blessing over bread.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Page 127, 145 in the flip book. Wherever you are, you can read with me. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in awe before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. And so we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. We join together.
On page 142 in your prayer book, it'll be Shalom Alechem. I'm sorry, I do not know the online. It's about 13 pages or 18 pages farther.
Might be 160. Take a shot at that. But
Okay.
either way, sing along.
Shalom Alechem.
Shalom Alechem, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Alachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Noachei Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Amachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedkem l'shalom,
Page 146, page 164. We begin with the Baruch Hu, as wherever we are watching, we are called together as one like Jews all over the world. And then we continue with Shema.
Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever.
Page 155, page 173 in the flip book. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work. Whether you are tired or you are rested, let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. Iramot Ma'im Adonai Mika
Mocha Negar Bar Kodesh Norata Ilot Osefele Norata Ilot Osefele Malechutecha Raul Banecha
The children of Israel will keep Shabbat, observing it as a covenant for all time, a sign for all between each of us and the people of Israel and between God. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, but on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. Oh, sorry. Israel, et Shabbat, la'asot et Shabbat, le'jorota beritolam, Eli u'ben bnei Israel, oti le'olam, Adonai Sifatai 164 and 182. And then in the pages that follow, we introduce the Avot, the Imahot. We connect back to our past. We know they faced challenges, some of them far greater. It doesn't make this any easier, except to know that we are in that sacred space where we turn to God for strength, where we look inward, we think of all of our friends around this country and around the world. And we ask, oh God, open our lips, help us to find the words of gratitude, the words of healing, the words that will declare your praise.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? La 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 la. Adonai Sefer Tiv-Tak, Ufi Akita Ilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, not my mouth, may declare your praise. So I may declare your praise. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Hagibor, v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, ve'Tzocher Chazti Avot v'Imahot, U'mei v'Gulal in Nevenem, Leman Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah Rav lehoshia. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, זומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומעתיר אסורים, ומחיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהלוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki Adon Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Ki Adon Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Letol Peinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael. Beth-El et ulvachol sha'ar Yishlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Take a few moments to listen and to be in the moment wherever you're watching from. Yalinu is the prayer of better days. It was written at a time of great persecution for the Jewish people, and it was a prayer that spoke of a time when all the broken pieces of the world would become one. Whatever your vision for that, we think of it now. As we look to Aleinu, we praise the ruler of all. We pray for a time when the world is whole again and at one. 586 and on 604.
Aleinu l'shabeach le'adon ha'kol, latet gedolah le'yotzeh bereshit, shelo hasanu k'gohei harazot, ve'lo samanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo sam elkeinu Israel, ve'or aleinu k'chol
As we prepare for Kaddish, and that prayer is on 598, and it's on 616, 616 in the flip book. Before we read the names, a word, just a word or two about Rabbi Sigma Koran. Now, I'm guessing most of you did not know her, although with streaming, it's entirely possible one of the many, many hundreds and thousands of people who were taught by her did know her. Sigma Koran, or Sissy as we all knew her in rabbinical school, was a classmate. She was a wonderful, vibrant human being. She had this incredible smile that was at once knowing and embracing, and the person you would want for a rabbi in your moment of grief. And then if something happened that caused you to be a little cynical, or somebody was making something up or a little bit jaded, the smile could turn just a little bit, that she and I could look at each other and say, can you believe that? Sissy and I were in Israel together for a year. And then, as often happens, you have those classmates you lose touch with. Then you have those classmates you talk to all the time. And then there's that middle category of the ones you stay in touch with, but it's once a year at conventions at different times. I had the blessing of working with her on a rabbi's convention committee for 5 years, beginning about 15 years ago. And it was a wonderful reuniting, because we'd go on these sites and we'd explore these different places, and then we would run these 5-day conventions, and it was like this wonderful catch-up. And I got to see her as the senior rabbi at a congregation in Cincinnati, where she was a social action advocate and a teacher of children and a powerful presence and a pastor, a mentor that people came to. We have a rabbinic school in Cincinnati, one of our 4 campuses, and numerous rabbinic students who studied under her. All this was new, and I got to know it with Sissy. But the truth is, it was one of those year-to-year check-ins, and it was as if no time had passed. And as many of you know, I'm not on Facebook that often. I would say often enough. Some of you would say not as often as I should be. So I was not following her posts the last few weeks to her congregation. So it was something of a shock when a week ago on a Wednesday night I received a call or information from my classmates that we were all gathering for a Zoom to share stories. And they were going to record those and send them over to Sissy, who had been fighting a second reoccurrence of cancer that had metastasized. So we recorded all these stories and we told them, and very quickly thereafter, Sissy passed away. I had the honor of just being there virtually listening to an empty sanctuary where she was rabbi for so many years as 2 different people shared the stories of her life. And what I was really affected by, touched by, is that there were so many other incredible pieces to her that I didn't know about, which is true of so many people in our life. I share this with you tonight so that when I say Kaddish for Rabbi Sigma Koran, because you shared so much of your life with me, you'll know about it. But I also share it with you for a homework assignment. Of course, you won't be here next week, so I won't put you on the spot. The homework assignment is pick one person that you care about deeply, that you don't talk to that often. Reach out to them this week and find out about all the other parts of their life while you still have the chance. On this Shabbat, we note the yahrzeits of Estelle R. Blotner, John Brothers, Charles Meyer Karb, Sarah Lee Carr, Sarah Carr, May Cohen, Adolf Y. Furstenfeld, Sarah E. Fleck, Sierra Friedman, Leroy Gilbert, Louis Glasser, David William Gross, Erwin Hertzman, Gloria Hoffman, Ella Suri Vaughn, Martin Klein, Mary Cooperman, Goldie Litwin, Max Levin, Deborah Furstenfeld-Mark, Helen Newman Myers, Nettie Endelmeyer, Rosalind Poggen, Alvin Polsky, Newman Roberts, Samuel Rosen, Alvin Rosenblum, Annette Rosenthal, Seymour Schloss, Nan Sonder, Meyer Jack Starr, Frida Wedner, Mort Werner, Gertrude Simon Wittenberg. And while I don't know all these names, I recognize more and more of the names connected to the people who are remembering. You are not alone. Here and somewhere in virtual space are friends of yours. They're hearing the names of your loved ones. They are thinking of you, and your recitation is not alone. If you are able, join with us. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chaye chon v'yomei chon, v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'galal v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lomei al-maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitrom v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitala, shmei d'kudsha brichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechmata, damiram bi'amal v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. May the source of strength bring strength to all who mourn, all in need, wherever they are. Amen.
Amen. And for our closing song, we will have Adon Olam But we're just going to do the first and last verses since it's just me and us here.
So-
Feel free to sing verses 2, 3, 4 at home by yourself.
Donal 625, 643, I think, but you can correct it at home. A deep breath, it's Shabbat, we join together. Shabbat Shalom. Olam Asher Ma'alach B'Terem Kol Yisir Nivra Le'ed Nasa V'Chepso
Azayin melech shemo nikra, Azayin melech shemo nikra, V'yado avli ruchi, V'et ishan ve'ayira, Ve'im ruchi, Geviati Adonai, Ve'lo nikra Adonai.
May you have a Shabbat filled with shalom, and may you have moments, as many as possible, where you feel blessed. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Carl. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, there we go. And turn that off. Thank you.
Yes, I can tell you how much it means to have.
Oh, yes, and people comment on the two of you. I don't know if they